TOMGIRL, where we talk all things sports, entertainment, fashion, and adventure. Today, we're talking to Adele Ng, photographer and creator of Red Bark Photography, who captures all kinds of stunning pet and outdoor shots. She's also the creative mastermind behind the popular Instagram account My Whiskey Girl, which follows the adventures of her two vizslas and has her own blog, The Dog Walks Me. Welcome to the show, Adele.
Hi.
Oh, and look at Whiskey right there.
She's pretty tired. We were on a big hike yesterday.
Oh, she has such a sweet little face. And there's my little boy back there. That's Rue.
Oh, hi, Rue.
And he's the same. We were in Lake Arrowhead yesterday, his favorite place. So he's pretty tuckered out today too.
Oh, I've been there. I've actually been there.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. So why I internet like Instagram found you because I was obviously have the Vizsla and fell in love with them. So I'm always looking at other Vizsla posts, and yours just stood out to me. It's so amazing, all the amazing shots you take, all these gorgeous scenic places you take your dogs and snap photos. So tell me about this Instagram account, how it came to be, and how you get these amazing shots.
Oh boy. So I got Whiskey. She's 9 now. When I first got her, like she was my first dog, so I didn't really know much about dogs too much. And I was just looking for like a dog to go hiking with. And I did a whole bunch of research and I found out that like Vizslas seem to really fit the bill. They're medium sized, and they're really sweet, loving dogs. They got short hair, so you don't have to worry too much about like, I mean, we live in like a temperate rainforest, so it's always raining, and I see a whole ton of dogs with long hair, just running in the mud. It was not what I wanted to deal with. So I love the short hair. I love the medium size, and they have like loads of endurance. They're really, really good for running. They can go day after day, and they're generally really healthy dogs. So it took a while, but I finally got one.
Mhm.
And Whiskey, she just really liked doing like she loved modeling. She loved the camera. And she's a working dog. Vizslas are working dogs. They tend to hunt, but Whiskey is a show dog, and she really likes to show off. She loves the camera. And it wasn't something I really taught her. She just really demanded it. Like we'd go out for hikes and she would love to pose, and then she would love the attention, and she'd get treats for it. So she started doing it everywhere. And then it got to a point where like if I didn't take pictures, she would get really depressed.
Oh.
So I started just taking more photos because she liked it. And I was like, sure, that's fine. Like that's, it worked for both of us. And I started on a social media website just for dogs, I think a while back. I forgot what it was called, but eventually I just shifted over to Instagram. And I mean, it was just really natural. It was because Whiskey liked it. She loved going outside, she loved hiking, and then she loved posing. So I just took lots of pictures for pictures for her, with her. Um, if I forgot a camera, like I would have to like do a little like click and then like give her a treat, because like she would just be anxious if she didn't do a good job. Like if I wasn't like taking her picture, she would just get anxious. So I'd have to like pretend to take a picture if I didn't have a camera. And she just, yeah, she loved hiking. She loved mountains. She loved scrambling. She wasn't scared of anything. So I just went with what she liked.
Mhm.
So that's how we started Instagram. And it really wasn't for anything other than Whiskey. She liked it. My mom liked seeing where we were.
Mhm.
And then we started taking trips. And I guess she got popular, but it wasn't the plan. It was just, I am from a photography background, and I used to work in the movies. So like photography is pretty easy for me, and it's something I really love. And I love editing, and Whiskey loves modeling. So it just worked out really well.
Sure, yeah. So for those out there that haven't seen the Instagram yet, talk about some of these because you have like just epic places and photos that you've been and taken her. So tell us about some of those or some of your favorites that you've been to.
So a lot of it's just I started I was hiking a lot before I got Whiskey because I wanted a hiking dog, but we started backcountry camping with her. And I really got into it. She loves it. It just works so well with her, and she makes it really easy. Whiskey is a really easy dog. Like that's not typical of Vizslas. But she's a very easy dog. She stays close. She's good with bear. She's good at recalling. She loves furry creatures. So she'd have chipmunks running around her legs and she just wouldn't mind. She'd try to kiss them. Generally like a sweet dog. Like she's really she loves being out and she loves scrambling. So I was like, okay, let's scramble then. And she loved camping. She sleeps in my sleeping bag when we go camping. And she curls up and she has a great time and she's so happy. So I just sort of go with what Whiskey likes to do. And so we would start going on harder and harder hikes. She got me driving out further and further. And then we started doing road trips. So we would, I think one of the earliest trips we did, we drove up to Alaska and just hiked and went to glaciers, went all around. We've seen so much wildlife. She's been such a sweet dog, like no issues really. And she's just so happy outside. So we live in Squamish and I lived in Vancouver. Squamish is just an hour north and I moved here eventually, but like there's so many mountains we're surrounded by. So we've done all the peaks around and there's still so much more that we need to do. We have done multi-day expeditions, like fly-in expeditions. She's great on planes. I have done, yeah, like road trips down to Utah. Went up to Alaska again last year, this time with my second dog. And
Bourbon, right?
yeah, bourbon. So we're just, you know, we've just been out and I like to push it. Whiskey likes to push it. We like to get, you know, a more and more technical terrain. She's getting older now. She's 9, but she's still going at it. She gets to places no other dogs get to. It's really incredible. And she's very confident. She waits for me to help her if she needs it. But otherwise, like she's gotten up like the hardest stuff and she's just rocking it. And she's so proud of herself once she gets to the top. She just loves it. Like she loves the mountains. And for some reason, like she's never hurt her paws. Like her paws are still fine. Like people worry about boots and stuff, but she's just been great. And yeah, like you can see how much she enjoys it. Like you just see it. Like she's just the happiest dog out there. So yeah, I just keep trying to find more people to go with and you know more hikes to do. The longest we've done is like 8 days in the backcountry. It's a fly in, fly out. And I think that one was half on trails, but it was just something I, you know, looked at satellite imagery and just sort of thought this lake would be really cool. This lake would be really cool. And how do we get to it? And yeah, just scrambling, climbing, hiking through bush, marshes, some very unpleasant places, but very, very beautiful places.
Yeah, it's incredible that you have such a great like best friend then, you know, adventure bud to go,
Yeah.
and now too to go with you and do
And
things.
now too, yes, now too. Yeah, whiskey was definitely the gateway drug. She's just a sweet, sweet, easy dog. Bourbon is more of like a true vizsla. She's a field trial vizsla, and her range is very far. So Bourbon is like full on. Very sweet as well at home. Like she's right now, she's right here. She's just they're
Oh,
right there.
oh,
So they've got a great off switch. They just sleep at home, and then we go out and they hike like crazy. Whether it's 1 hour or like 8 days, they hike like crazy. They come home, they just sleep. It's wonderful.
great.
Yeah, they're such great dogs, as you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm completely in love. What have you done as far as training for them? Like, I know you said they're good at recall and like, did you have to work?
Oh yeah, with whiskey, she loves training. So I mean, okay, we'll train then. And I was trying to find more things to like teach her because I just run out of ideas. So like when Whiskey was younger, like she was healing off leash before she was 6 months in the city. So she would know to stop at like the sidewalk and then we'd cross the road together and then would stop again. She'd ask to go into stores. I'm like, no, that one's not dog friendly. This one's dog friendly. No. And I could heal her around geese off leash when she was like 1. So we just practice a lot of like healing, which is really necessary in the city. recall or from different distances, from birds, from all kinds of things. And then you get into the fancy stuff like sniff training. I she just like I would just let her sniff my keys and then throw them in a bush and then she'd go find them. I don't know, like gloves, like whatever. She'd find toys around the house. Um, what else would we do? And then, like the tricks like weaving around the legs, like sitting, standing. Just yeah, Whiskey's just she's just super easy and just really, really wants to please. So like whatever I could think of, we'd just work on and she would do. Like all the, silly tricks that you don't really need. And then recently we just got into agility last year and she loves it. She doesn't pull. She's a very mellow dog, but if we're going to agility, she pulls so hard, she like almost like, chokes herself. She loves it so much. And she's, again, she doesn't bark normally, but we get in there and she's barking at me if I'm not fast enough, if I screw up, if I don't say the right thing. She's screaming at me. She's running. She's so happy. She's like a puppy. It's crazy. Bourbon is the opposite. Bourbon is very Bourbon ranges. We just got a GPS for her. So she ranges about like 500 meters at some points, which is very far. 500 yards, I think. Like half, yeah, pretty far. She's a far-ranging little thing. But she's as vizslas, they always come back. They love their people. It's just the distance that she goes. She keeps an eye and she knows where we are in most cases. But it can be really disconcerting for most people, especially off leash if you're in the wild, bear country. So with Bourbon, it wasn't just fun training. I had to train her. And she's not a dog that's like wants to train. She's not looking at you like, what can we do next? So with Bourbon, it was much harder. We had to train recall right away because she was off leash right away. The regular sit, heel, come, touch, all that kind of stuff. Down, stay, leave it. So that's all typical. And I just say it in passing, but it is hard. I'm sure, like recalling from birds, leave it with food on the ground or, things that you might pass by, leave it at a distance. Like if your dog is approaching a hamburger on the ground, you need to be able to tell them to leave it. Even though you're far away from them, that's not like all this stuff is not easy. And there's a lot of wildlife and, like, I remember because we do a lot of scrambling. So when she was young, like I'd take her up on like cliffs, but not like big cliffs and just chuck rocks over and see if she'd go for it. Like they need to know self-control. The stuff that we do, if there is a bird flying over the edge and you're at a drop, they need to decide no. Like otherwise you can't do the off-leash stuff with them. So you have to be really, really good with that because it's your life at stake, their life at stake. So you have to have really good control and recall. It's not just control. Like even if they're on their leash, they can slip. If you're scrambling, you can't have them on leash because either of you could pull each other down. So you really need them to, when she was a puppy, I took her out right away. And, she needs to know her limits. She needs to know when to ask for help, when to wait, to listen, to be able to, point, okay, stay. And then you climb a little bit. Okay, over here on this side. And then they get to that point, wait. You go over to another point. Okay, wait here. Like you need the dogs to listen. You need them to understand. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. There's so much training involved. It's every day. We still train every day. I just did the training session with them outside.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because they're so calm. And so like I've watched the videos where you have them just in the canoe, floating down with you. And
Yeah. Like, Bourbon was in the canoe for like 10 weeks and we went down rapids at like, I think she was definitely like maybe 6 months or so. I was in the middle with them in the beginning. So like, I'm always pretty cautious in the beginning. But that's like whitewater, right? With like puppy. So yeah, they have to be definitely listening, under control, and you just go for it, and that's your lifestyle. And yeah, you train real hard for it when that's your lifestyle.
You mentioned the GPS. Tell me like what kind of GPS you have or what other products that you like for the pooches in the outdoors.
So much, so much. So the GPS I just got is the one that my breeder suggested. It's the Garmin Astro 430. I think there's a newer version out there. So it's just a GPS. There's no e-collar or anything like that. And it works out of reception, which is super important for us. And I think it's a 2.5 second, what do you call it? Like it updates every 2.5 seconds. So for a fast running dog, that makes a huge difference, because if you're updating every 5 seconds, your dog can be 200 meters to back to you. um, and that has really changed so much, because I don't see her a lot, but I can call her and see that she's coming to me. So I'm not calling. I can see that she's coming, and I can reinforce that. Um, and I can also see on the map if she's like circling around. Suburban doesn't kill anything. She just likes to communicate with the animals by barking at them. She just likes to scream at squirrels, and they scream back at her. It's it's really funny when you're camping, and she's just under a tree, and the squirrel's dropping things on her, screaming back at her, and she's screaming back at it. And so yeah, that can happen where she's just circling a tree for a while, and I can see where she is, and she does recall from it. It just takes a while sometimes, so I can see she's coming back. Um, yeah, it's wonderful, and it's waterproof, which she tested immediately on the first day I got it. But it's fully waterproof, and it's just such a peace of mind to be able to see where she is.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it doesn't make up for any recall issues, so you need to make sure your dog has the recall. It's just more for me to know basically what direction to recall her from, so I'm not screaming in a circle. I can scream in one direction, and also to know, like, a lot of times she's following us just like 50 meters to the side, or if you're in a like a foresty area, she's only 50 meters ahead, so I don't really need to recall. I know she's like following us. So that's really nice too, just like I can just check up, and yeah, she's just right ahead. And sometimes, like, it's a really big forest, and I didn't realize she's actually right there, so it's nice to see that. So that's been a game changer. Other products we like, dog jackets in the winter, in the rainy season. That's huge, because they're always wet. I used to think it's so silly to see dogs like dressed in clothes, but you realize it's actually for the owner, so you don't have to deal with the wet dog later. And yeah, like, when I first got a dog, I was like, I'm not going to dress it up. That's so silly. Look at me now.
Oh, but you have
And
sweaters and all different kinds of things for them. Great.
I know. It's so ridiculous. Look at where I've gone. And I remember the first day I got the dog, I was like, no dogs in the bed. And first day she was in the bed, and I was like, all right.
Oh, they love the cuddle too. That bed is just like they want to be right next to you, huh?
They do, they do. And what's the harm? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't bother me. They stay really clean. They're very clean dogs.
Yeah.
Other products, definitely like life jackets are very good for them. A good harness for climbing. It's so important, especially when they're a puppy, to have a handle on them, a literal handle that you can just lift them up and carry them. I think that's a huge major thing if you get a puppy, to have a harness, because there's so many instances where you just need to pick your dog up real quick, whether there's another dog coming or like they're getting into something. That's really, I don't know about you, but I find that super, super helpful. I've got leashes of all different sorts. Treats are so major. I don't think I've ever been out without treats for the first couple years of Bourbon's life. I don't know what else like a treat pocket, I suppose. I am never without a treat pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else do you use for products?
I have treat pocket, a little pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I have another a little bigger pouch where I have like the treats and the poop bags, all that.
Yes. Oh, and the dog beds, because these are very soft dogs. So they love cave beds. It has to be very comfortable, like the one yours is lying in, with like, the pillow that surrounds all the sides. Yeah, lots of blankets. All the blankets are dog blankets.
Oh yeah, he loves to bury under the blankets too.
Yeah.
So not only do you take all these amazing photos of your dogs and when you're out adventuring, but you also do pet photography for other people and owners. Tell me about that business that you've created.
Yeah, so I've always taken pictures, and editing's always been something I really enjoy. So over time, I started. First, we did a lot of pictures and videos with whiskey for different dog brands. People would just start asking us, and then I started doing other families and other dogs as well. I really love capturing like the relationship between a dog and the owner. Um, I'm more interested in relationships. I know there's a lot of people that do like dog portraits just themselves, but I really like the relationships. So that's something I sort of concentrated on. Sometimes it's for dog companies, so like dog food. I think bourbon's on a dog food that's currently out right now. Whiskey's on a couple dog food trucks.
Oh.
And she's done a video commercial too. We've done we did a one week shoot where we were in the backcountry with a crew and a cast and shooting. So Whiskey's great for that. She just loves being in front of the camera. She doesn't mind doing the shoots over and over. Yeah, she's just really, she loves it. So we've done that as well. And yeah, I shoot a lot of other, depending on if it's commercial or personal, but like um, different owners and dogs, or sometimes like it's just the dog with an actor, that kind of thing. So yeah.
And how did you kind of evolve into this? I know you were saying you started out and worked like 15 years in film and television. So
Yeah.
what were you doing before and that? And then how did you transition to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I worked in movies and TV for like yeah, well over a decade, and the hours are just so long. And you don't get a choice. You're on a show, you're working the hours of the show, and then you're done the show, and then you have to find the next show. So it's good pay, but it's really long hours, and you're never really sure when the next gig is on. And you don't know how long that one will end, and then the overtime is just crazy. So when I first got Whiskey, um, it was really hard because we would have to get a dog walker for her every day. And if I was working overtime, it's you get home at like 8 p.m. You'd have to wake up maybe really early to walk her, have a dog walker come and then walk her in the afternoon to take her out for a hike. And, we'd work 6 days a week. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
You
And
were
it's really hard to
doing
have a
or
dog.
shooting? Or what were you doing in
Oh, it's visual effects.
okay.
So it's in front of the computer. So on Marvel movies, Disney movies, that kind of thing. And I ended up working at Sony for the last, I think, 7 years. But it's just, yeah, the hours are just really, really hard. And it was exhausting. And I got pretty burnt out.
Mhm.
And I was doing the photography on the side, anyways. And then so I slowly transitioned. I started doing like one movie and then taking 6 months off, then another movie, and then just eventually just fully transitioning over. I don't make very much money now, but the life is great. So we just sort of take it easy, slow. Um, we don't do anything extravagant. She gets all the good food. I spend all my money on her. Um,
Yeah.
and bourbon as well, of course. But yeah, we just
It's
have a
not about the money, right? Like you're fulfilled
no,
in all the places that you're getting to see and the
yeah.
experiences that you're sharing. Like, how does that fill you up?
Oh, it's amazing. And like when you go hiking and camping, and it's mostly road trips and stuff like that, you don't spend that much money, I feel like. It's a much slower life. And yeah, you're just like living it slow. And it's so rewarding because you're getting everywhere with your own 2 feet, and you're living, in harsh conditions, and you're learning how and what your body can do. And I think it's just such an amazing thing in this day and age. Um, it's really funny because obviously I'm at a reception most of the time, and then I only post when I get back home. And as I'm posting up the stories, people are like, "Be careful," and I'm like, "I'm back already. I wouldn't be posting this." But also, like, there's no way I'd be out there like posting every night, stories in my tent. Like, it's just such a funny thing to me.
Mhm.
Um, so it's a weird mix because like, half of it's like very, you know, um, on social media and the internet and everything. And the other half, I'm out there with nobody, no reception. And it's just, worried about the bears and worried about like, what might happen and the weather and all that kind of stuff. It is really, I feel like, I mean, as a woman, just like being able to do all these things, it gives you so much more confidence in life. I feel like it really, really does. To be able to see a mountain so far away and be like, I know I can do that. It's just going to take time. I'm going to go slow and we're just going to get there. And to go with the girls, like yeah, I love it. They're definitely the perfect breed for me because I don't have to worry about them. They're by me. They do their thing. They come if I call. And when I put the tent down, both of them know it's home. They just, sometimes they don't even wait for me to put the tent up. They're already sitting on it. So yeah, the tent's home. We put it up. We get the bag in. We have a routine. Like everyone knows what they're doing. Like it's so easy. I know that's not always the case. But yeah, they see the tent as home. They know the routine. They know what we're gonna do. And they love to sleep in. It's sometimes I get up in the morning to see the sunrise and I can't get them out of the sleeping bag. They're both in the sleeping bag and they won't come out.
Like, not yet.
No, no, yeah.
You've
And
also
sometimes I put the sleeping bag down and like I just put the tent in and they're already trying to get in the sleeping bag. I'm like, oh my gosh.
This is just the life. Like, I just can't, I just love everything you're doing and being out there with your dogs like that. And seeing these amazing places just has to be so fulfilling. You've
Oh
started
yeah.
to share not only on Instagram, then you've also started a blog where you share some tips and things for other people. Tell us about some of the things readers will find on your blog.
I think I started it ages ago, just blogging about whiskey. And then I slowly transitioned it to like answering questions that people ask. So instead of like having to like message and type out like, the whole answer to people that are asking like, how do you get your girls to recall? Or like, what kind of spade do they have? Or what hike do you recommend? I would write the whole blog down so I could just like send them a blog link because I would spend hours and hours and hours on my phone just like messaging the same things. So like yeah, eventually I just ended up doing that, or just stuff I like to write about. Like sometimes it's just or hikes. I should do this more. There's so many things I want to do. But yeah, there's some hikes that I just want to like post up, like some pictures that we did. And there's so many memories that, we've been to some places where I don't think too many people have gone. And it's really fun to like look back at it, just to have a memory of it. Hey,
Some of those places.
yeah, it's just a mix of like all different kinds of stuff, to see what people are asking about, especially like with a puppy, how do you get like a good dog, like, and just different things to hikes that we've been on. It's just a huge mix. It's just where I put everything. I don't even know who reads it half the time, but yeah, I just put it out there.
I read it. It was great. So have been some of your favorite hikes, or what are also ones that are also on your, oh, look at that.
Yeah, she's just demanding belly rubs.
I wish you could see them, because vizslas how they freak out when they see another one and they're like, oh, another one of my kind. But
Oh, they're so used to it. Whiskey's almost like, oh, are you bringing this one home again? Because I pet sit a lot of vizslas,
oh,
especially the younger ones and the boy. She's like, do I have to train this one?
oh, sweet. Look at that sweet face. What were some of your favorite hikes, or also ones that are on your bucket list, or things that you want to do with your dogs?
The favorite ones, definitely the long multi-day hikes. I think half of it's in planning because I just love looking at maps, trying to figure out like how can I get here? Like some of them we've had to fly into. So like I would just look at an area, figure out like how to get there, so a lot of it's planes that you have to drop into and then just track my own route. So a lot of it's not, there's no trails. You're just trying to figure out like, how do I get here? Like, this looks really, really beautiful. Um, and then I sort of arrange it for a group and I figure out the planes and, I sort of jot down like, what I think could be a route. Now, when you get down there, you got to realize a lot of times things on a map is not at all, possible or is much harder than you expect. Um, so those are my favorites because it's so rewarding to be like able to do something that you just look at a map and sort of
Yeah.
have an idea of. Like, that's really extremely rewarding. My favorite locations are like the Canadian Rockies. It's just breathtaking. Um, and around home, because the Canadian Rockies is definitely the most photogenic location, but dogs have to be on leash. There's a lot of rules. There is a lot of wildlife, and it's not easy to camp because you got to get permits and all that kind of stuff. So there's that one's very, very gorgeous, but also a little bit more limiting. And like you're spending a lot of time trying to get certain permits, so that can be a little bit difficult. Hi, Miss. The location I'm in around Squamish, it's very wild. So there's a ton of backcountry you can go to, but it's very wild. You can be out there and people go missing all the time. And you just don't know what happens to them. So you got to be really careful. There's a lot of grizzlies. The weather can change in the winter. There's a ton of avalanches. Yeah, it's not something to take for granted. And you have to do a ton of research to get out there. So I love our location. The beautiful turquoise lakes.
Yeah.
Within just like from home, I don't have to get on a highway or anything like that. Mountains like that are just loads and loads of mountains that you need to sort of figure out how to get up. A lot of scrambling. Yeah, which I saw a mountain goat like just a month ago, which was insane. Really, really, really cool. So it's just super wild. But it's very rewarding and it's so close to home here and it's beautiful, like just beautiful here. So I love the location here. And there's so much more. There's so many places I want to go. I definitely want to go back to Utah. That was amazing. Very different from everything we have here. And I have to say the hiking is so much easier.
And
I'm so used to struggling so hard here, but Utah was just like, yeah, it was beautiful. You don't have to like go for half a day and half kill yourself to get to something gorgeous. Alaska was amazing. That is wild too. Alaska was so cool. The Yukon is amazing. Yeah, if I had a chance, I might move to the Yukon for a couple of years. Yeah, lots of. I also love food, but the amount of berries and mushrooms they have there are really cool. And I love the tundra. Tundra is really amazing. It's much easier to hike in tundra too because you're not in the mountains in the trees, so you can sort of see where you're going. So I'm just gonna talk forever.
that's fine. I love to hear about all these. You're making me want to get out there and really explore and take this boy right here on some good big hikes.
He would love it. He would love it.
Yeah, he definitely loves to hike. He's that's his happy place for sure.
Yeah, that's a vizsla.
Yeah. You've also had now, so you're growing the blog, you got the Instagram, you got your photography business, and you've also, I've saw we're creating like merchandise, like the shirt that you have on and
Yeah,
products.
this one I just got this one. The girls are right underneath me, but this is one that I designed with Whiskey's face on it. Um, I started making calendars every year, and I would donate the proceeds to like animal rescues and search and rescue because I didn't have much money to donate, but I wanted to make sure that I gave back. There's a lot of search and rescue groups around my area, and I have never used them, but I want to make sure that I put in a lot of karma just in case because I'm always out there and you never know what may happen. So I think it was like 5 years or 6 years ago, I started doing a calendar every year with pictures of whiskey back then. and selling it. And any proceeds I would get, I would give most of it to, different rescue groups. So animal rescues and search and rescue groups. And then over time, I started adding stickers, and then I started adding prints of my photography. And then I just started adding I just went full in. So I just started, because I love designing. So I designed some shirts. I had some line drawings that I did, and it just blew up. And now I have a full store. Sometimes I close it down. So I'm not always super fast. If I'm out backcountry for a couple days, I'll come back and I'll send some orders, but everything's for my home. And then I started making things that I just wanted. So I just wanted to have a vizsla, a necklace and earrings. And so it's more of an excuse to create things that I want to, or find artists that will create it for me. So yeah.
So tell everybody where they can, how they can follow you guys on the Instagram account and your blog, and shop these awesome items that you have.
Everything I think is linked through my Instagram, which is my whiskey girl. So that's us on Instagram. I just started TikTok. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. I don't know how that works. But
Right there.
TikTok, yeah, it's an interesting world there, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm on TikTok too. Our shop is Red Bark Shop, because it's red dogs barking. That's her. So the Red Bark Shop, and also I have the blog, The Dog Walks Me. But everything is on Instagram, so it's sort of easy to connect to everything there. And I respond to most people that message me as much as I can. I really do try to be out there responding to nice people, people that aren't just demanding things. But yeah, if there's any questions you have about vizslas or anything about hiking with dogs, about technical stuff, recall, being safe out there, it's been really sweet. I know a lot of people find social media quite depressive. I know that it can give a lot of people FOMO, but I really try to see it as a good place to, give inspiration to get out there, to get your dog, doing what they love, to be free if they can be safely, of course, and to sniff, and to hike in, and to train your dog to be able to do that, because you can work your way up to there. I've worked really, really hard to get my dogs to be able to do what they do. But sometimes you can still hike with your dog on leash. You can hike with your dog on leash far away from other dogs if your dog is reactive. And you can find groups of people and friends that are able to do that with you. So I think there's just so much out there. And yeah, I've got a lot of people that tell me that I inspire to get them out with their dogs, and that's really all I want to do. And I met so many lovely, lovely people out there through the account, through whiskey. Whiskey's just led me through the best things in my life. So yeah.
Do you guys have any upcoming trips planned?
I haven't. I'm just going week by week this year. So I have a huge wish list, but I have to sort of see. It's a bit tough. I always have the wish list every year, but one of my girlfriends, she's super injured this year, and I also realized that as the summer goes on, you never know when the fires come in. If there's fires, if there's bug season, if there's this, if there's that. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to see if I can plan week by week and see what we can do. And I might do a couple solo ones as well this year too, if I can work my way up to there. But yeah, there's so many things I want to do, and I'm really excited. I can't wait to get out hiking and camping somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see the new photos that you post, because it's just so fun to follow along. And yeah, you've inspired me to want to get out there and see these epic things like you have. So I just want to thank you for all that you're doing, and thank you for taking the time to talk with me today and share your story. And of course, let me meet Bourbon and Whiskey in person. Rose, want to say hi? Bye.
I know, they're such sweet dogs, and they sleep at home. They're so easy. Hold on, let me get a bourbon for you. Oh, bourbon. Oh, this is a bourbon.
Can you see Bourbon?
They don't really represent what they look like outside, eh?
Yeah.
They're just so sweet and sleepy here, and then outside they're just like complete
Yeah,
me.
they come alive and just the big grin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing
It's so good
with all
to
of
you.
us. Nice to meet you too. Glad we were able to do this.
Of course.
Thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to follow along on Instagram, Facebook, check out the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. And we'll see you again here real soon. So get outside.
TOMGIRL.